This time I'll be talking. This time this will be a, well, still of course gaming stuff, but this is a kind of special video. I decided to do a video about my gaming history, pretty much from the beginning to this day, and also talk about a little bit of future and predict my gaming future and my future plans. But yeah, and first of all, I think because I've had so many consoles during my gaming history that it would be nearly impossible to go with chronological order. Well, I'm still going in a chronological order, but one platform at a time. That should be much easier to also remember. So, well, those of you who don't know me personally don't probably know how old I am, because I'm not sure if I have mentioned that in any of my videos before. But yeah, those who don't know, I was born in 81, so this year I'm turning 40, so I might look younger to most, but yeah, I'm turning 40 already, so my gaming history is quite long one, and pretty much my gaming started when I was only I'd say 3 to 4 year old, so very young, a child, and I had many of these, very simple, you could say handheld, well, not console, but handheld gaming, these little devices that had only one game, and they had the kind of, don't know what type of display they had. Were they I don't know, LCD screen, but really small ones. There were usually just one game like pre-installed in that device, and that's pretty much where it all started. And after that, so first I'm going to talk about the all the other devices that were not consoles. So first I'll talk about the non-consoles, like PC stuff and whatnot, and then I'll move to the consoles. So my first real big step to the gaming was, I think it happened in a late 80s. I think it was something like 88 or 89. Can't remember for sure, but I'm quite sure it was 88 or 89. I got myself a Commodore 128 model, and back then the Commodore scene was huge. I mean, really huge. All my cousins had Commodore and a couple of my friends, but as far as I remember, all my cousins and friends only had Commodore 64, and I had Commodore 128, so that was like more powerful Commodore model. And unlike my friends and cousins had a cassette, C cassette drive, I had a kind of, not floppy disk, but they were like this size, black, like square, can't really explain, but they had a much more space for the games than the cassette. So that was a major step. That was pretty much my first major step to the gaming. I had like hundreds and hundreds of Commodore games, and that lasted couple of years. I still can't remember precisely when I stopped playing Commodore on Commodore. I think it was something like, I would say 92, 91, or maybe even 93. But yeah, early 90s I stopped playing. I got bored of the Commodore and the Commodore games. And shortly after that, I moved to DOS gaming, but that period was really brief. I only was interested about a couple of DOS games, like Alone in the Dark and Alone in the Dark 2, and I think Alone in the Dark 3 wasn't released yet back then. But yeah, Alone in the Dark 1 and 2, and a couple of more DOS games, like damn. Now I just can't remember. All I remember are Alone in the Dark, first two games. But yeah, back then I didn't have a PC of my own, so I played on my cousin's PC, the Alone in the Dark one pretty much, and some other games that I just can't remember right now. Yeah, but that period was very short. It only lasted because I didn't have my own PC. That's pretty much the reason why it was so short period. Yeah, it only lasted 2 years most, maybe a little over 1 year. Yeah. And then next I'll move to the Nintendo consoles and handhelds, and since there are so many Nintendo handhelds, I will talk about those separate from the Nintendo home consoles. So first, my first Nintendo product I got was in the very early 90s. This was before. Uh, I mean, this was during the time I still played on Commodore. I think, I got a Game Boy, the original Game Boy, in very early 90s. I think it was 90 or 91. I got Game Boy, and that also, I would say that was bigger, that made bigger impact to me than Commodore, because that was so magical back then. You had this console that you can take anywhere and play anywhere. Well, mostly because the what I remember, the big drawback and the big issue was that the first Game Boy didn't have a background light, so you had to have quite good light. You had to play in a quite good lit area to be able to see anything from the screen, pretty much. So there was no way you could play at night if there were no lights around. So yeah, but that was special. And then a little bit later I got Game Boy Pocket, which was a still black and white screen, but it was a smaller model of Game Boy. And after that I got Game Boy Color, which was a I think it was pretty much the same console as Game Boy Pocket. The same performance. I'm not sure. I don't think it was more powerful, but it had the color screen, and you could play also the old black and white Game Boy games on that, and they showed some colors. But yeah, I got, after that, after the Game Boy Color, I got, and I got, I need to say this, that specify that I pretty much got this very early on their like launch window. I got them all pretty much on either on launch day or launch window, briefly after, short after their release. So after that I got Game Boy Advance, and that was a big step over the Game Boy Color. It was much more powerful, and after that I got Game Boy Advance SP, which was much improved. The design was really different than the GBA, but I personally really liked the SP model much more than the basic GBA model. And then after that I got Nintendo DS, pretty much quite shortly after its release. And after that DS Lite, and after that Nintendo 3DS, and after that I pretty much got bored of the 3D. At first it was really special. Yeah, it was nice at the start, but then I changed that to Nintendo 2DS, and my last model was, I think, Nintendo 2DS, new Nintendo 2DS XL. Damn, there were so many models that no wonder I get confused sometimes. But yeah, that's my history of Nintendo handhelds. Then I'll go to the Nintendo home consoles, and I have to say my first Nintendo home console was GameCube. So I didn't have NES, SNES, or even Nintendo 64, N64. My first Nintendo home console was GameCube, and I got that on launch, I think, or shortly after. And by the way, I have some Coca-Cola Zero here. I'm talking so much that I need to drink this a little bit. Right, so the reasons I got GameCube was, of course, that I heard that Resident Evil remake and Resident Evil 1 remake and Resident Evil 0 are coming exclusively to GameCube. So I just had to have that console. If that would not be the case, I don't think I would have ever gotten myself GameCube. So thanks for that, because there were so many other games that I really enjoyed on GameCube, like Eternal Darkness and Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and even this quite cult hit, not very known game, but game called Geist. I really loved that game. But yeah, those Resident Evil games, Remake 0 and later Resident Evil 4 was initially only for GameCube. So yeah, those were the main and pretty much only reasons I got the GameCube. And after that, also on launch, I got Nintendo Wii. And I think why I decided to have Wii, I'm not really sure. I think it had to do with the unique idea of these motion controls like Nunchuck and Wiimote. I think that idea sold. I think that idea was enough for me to buy that console. But yeah, I didn't have that console for only for like 2 years or something, or maybe 3 years at most. But yeah, there weren't like many must-have games on Wii. There were Yeah, Metroid Prime 3, Corruption. That was pretty. I think that was the most important Wii game for me. And yeah, also back to the GameCube when I mentioned about the most important games for me on GameCube. Of course, there were Metroid Prime 1 and 2. They were huge games, very important games for me. But yeah, and after Wii, I got Nintendo Wii U, but I didn't get that at launch. I think I got it like half a year or even 1 year after its release. I got Wii U, and that period was very short. I had Wii U for like only 1 year about, and I gotta say, Wii U was, for me, it was kind of fiasco, disappointment, because nowadays thinking and comparing that to Nintendo Switch, I just think that the Wii U was a kind of concept idea of Switch. And yeah, maybe without Wii U there wouldn't be Nintendo Switch nowadays, because yeah, I think that Nintendo just, followed that same idea but just improved it much better uh, on Switch. But yeah, to me it's like a concept model of Switch. And there weren't many great games. I think the games particularly on Wii U were quite well. There were so few great games on Wii U, and the games I had were just already already old or existing games on other platforms that I just got the Wii U version, like Resident Evil Revelations and games like that, or Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, I didn't have many games overall on Wii U. And of course, after that, uh, well, I was without, for some time, I was without any Nintendo console, well, home console, because I had sold my previous Nintendo home consoles. But yeah, then I got, well, I think very shortly after, very shortly after, like 1 month or 2 months after the Switch release, I got Nintendo Switch. And yeah, I can really say that it's definitely my favorite Nintendo home console, or Nintendo console, like of all Nintendo consoles, like handhelds included. And my second favorite is GameCube. But yeah, so there, I got this Nintendo covered, my Nintendo gaming history. Next, I'll move to the Xbox. So it was, I think, 2002 when my cousin one day called me that he got the original, well, back then it was just Xbox, but nowadays I'll just tell you the original Xbox. he got Xbox and this very interesting and cool looking game called Halo. And long story short, that series got fucking huge, and that's the most important game series on Xbox. Yeah, bar none. So he got Xbox and Halo, and when I finally got to see this Halo game, and of course we played it on co-op because it had a co-op campaign, and I was sold. Like, the graphics were just phenomenal. Like, it was so much more powerful, and games were so much nicer looking than on PlayStation 2, comparing it to PlayStation 2 games. And shortly after that, I got myself my own Xbox, and yeah, I think I had the original Xbox for like 3 years or something. And yeah, the original Xbox was really short-lived for some reason, because only after about little bit more than 3 years Xbox 360 was released, and I got that very shortly after its release. I think I got it like early 2006, as it was released at the end of 2005. Yeah. So I got it 2006, early 2006, and yeah, to me it was just like the original Xbox made a quite big impact on me, so I just automatically decided to get the Xbox 360, and also Gears of War was a really great game, and well, I had a quite big library of 360 games, but oddly I can't really remember like right now which those games were, but yeah, Gears of War and Halo 3, and of course there was later Gears of War 2 and 3, but yeah, the first Gears of War made a quite huge impact on me. So yeah, then I got Xbox One, but I remember this situation where I don't know what were the reasons behind it, but for some reason Xbox One was released here in Europe, or was it only in like Nordic countries, like ridiculously like a year after its US release. It got finally released here, and yeah, I got the Xbox One on release date, and also the Kinect. I think I had the Kinect, or did I? No, I don't think I had Kinect. No, I did. damn it, I can't really remember, but I think I got the Xbox One without Kinect, because I remember it first requiring Kinect, but later you could use and play Xbox One without Kinect, and I never really liked Kinect. It was just a useless, useless thing for me. I was like not giving a crap about the Kinect, so I think I got it without Kinect. Yeah, it should be like that. And I didn't have Xbox One for very long. I think I only had that for like 2 years or something. And I just, kind of got bored of it, because I had PlayStation 4 also back then, and PlayStation 4 was much more important console to me than Xbox One, and I just decided to sell it because most of the games were coming to both consoles, and there weren't that many Xbox One exclusive games that interested me back then. So I just decided to sell my Xbox One. But a few years later, I got this that I still have. I got this Xbox One S digital edition. And I really like this console. I don't regret getting the Xbox One again after I sold my first launch model of Xbox One. And this is also a little bit more powerful than the first Xbox One model. And yeah, and about the future a little bit. So I'm not planning to get Xbox Series X or S console. I'm fine with the Xbox One S right now, but it can change in the future. I don't know, but at the moment I don't have plans to get the new Series consoles, either of those two. And if I decide to get the Xbox Series console, it will probably be X model, because S just doesn't really interest me that much. It's just a weaker Xbox model of those two. So I'll definitely get, if I get the X Series X. So yeah, that's my Xbox history of gaming. And then to my favorite, PlayStation. My PlayStation gaming history. So, like I have explained this and told you this story on my previous video. So I'm just repeating a little bit that. So I got my PlayStation 1 back in early '97, as my dad bought me that console, and that is still to this day it has made the biggest impact, definitely biggest impact on me in gaming, and that's still my all-time favorite console and probably will always be. PlayStation 1. Fuck yeah. So yeah, I play it so intensely, so much with PlayStation 1 from early 97 to like 2000 and 2000, yeah, or 2001, because into in 2000 I got the PlayStation PS1 model, which was much smaller, much smaller, and nice looking little model of PlayStation, and I continue to play my PS1 games on that. But yeah, then very shortly after the PS1 was released, of course, the PlayStation 2 was released, and oh boy, that almost made as big impact on me than the PlayStation 1 back in 97. I got PlayStation 2 on launch day, and got myself Ridge Racer 5. That was my first game. I can't remember if I got any other launch games. Yeah, probably I didn't get any more launch games. But Ridge Racer 5 was enough for me. That was just awesome game. And I was a big fan of that series. I had Ridge Racer Type 4 on PS1, and that was also a great arcade racing game. So I was really excited about Ridge Racer 5. And yeah, I had so big library of PS2 games, like the biggest library I had on any PlayStation console or any console overall. I had the biggest game library on PS2 probably, yeah. And so I played many years my PS2, like till like 2006, from 2000 to 2006, and during that time I also got myself a PlayStation 2 Slim, so the little brother model like the PS1 was to original PlayStation. So yeah, I played many years with my PlayStation 2, and there was so huge amount of great games. And then PlayStation, no, actually after that, of course, I got PSP back in 2005 at launch, and I was so excited about it. Like, I first heard that, oh, there will be a portable PlayStation you can play anywhere, and that idea was just so fucking great that I just had to get PSP. And PSP made much bigger impact on, like, handheld wise than any other Nintendo handheld console made for me. Yeah, PSP made a much bigger impact, and there were so many great games on PSP, and I played it until like from 2005 to like 2011, and of course during that time I got PlayStation 3 at launch. But from the PlayStation home consoles, the PlayStation 4 is, yeah, it's definitely my least favorite. Still a great console, but my least favorite of these 4 PlayStation home consoles. But yeah, PSP was huge for me. Then in 2012, I got PS Vita, and I just had to get it. Like, that was enough for me to know that it's like PSP but much more powerful, and that pretty much was enough for me. Okay. I just thought I have to get this, and also it got touchscreen and that fancy back touch panel, but in the end that was pretty useless. In the end, not many games even used that feature, so it was a really gimmicky thing. But yeah, and I had PS Vita like maybe 3 years to 2015, till 2015 or even 16. Yeah, but PSP made a much bigger impact on me in the end than PS Vita, and I would say overall PSP was much bigger success for Sony than PS Vita, definitely. But yeah, during the PS Vita period, I got myself PS4 at launch, and yeah, PS4 made a much bigger impact on me than the PlayStation 3 did. So I think that PlayStation 4 was like back to the greatness for me, like it was with the PlayStation 1 and 2. And yeah, quite recently, like all of you know, I got PlayStation. I sold my original PS4 and got myself PlayStation 4 Pro last year, holiday season. So next, my future plans for PlayStation consoles. Well, as you know, I'm still waiting for PS5, and I'm just not going to talk about that any further. That I just hope I'll get it sooner than fucking later. But yeah, and next I'm going to very shortly talk about like the future of gaming and my predictions. Like, I mean, predictions. This is pretty easy to see how gaming goes from here. So the physical formats will slowly die, and it will move to cloud gaming and streaming gaming and services like PlayStation Now and Xbox Game Pass, and things I don't really like. Because I'm an old school gamer, I like physical formats. Of course, I have many games. I have many digital versions of my games, so I'm not like the ones who just need to get all games on physical format. No, I can I can buy the digital versions of them, but the most important thing for me is to have this feeling that I own the games. But if you are like cloud gaming, you don't really own those games. You just play them like they are available on network, but you just play them. You don't own them. And for me it's important to have the feeling that you own those games. It makes a big difference for me, and I just don't like where this gaming is going in the future. So I'm pretty worried about that. But yeah, so that's it. There's my gaming history. Now you know how I came to be the gamer I am today, and which consoles and devices impacted me the most. Definitely PlayStation consoles made the biggest impact for me. That's like, yeah, definitely. And of course, you can see it on my t-shirt also. PlayStation is the number one and always will be. So, yeah, that's about it. Pretty much finished with my gaming history, and yeah, I just wanted to share this insight on my gaming history and yeah, whatnot, and a little bit of my future plans. So, almost 50 minutes, damn it. I knew this would be a long video, but yeah. See you in the next one. And that most likely will be the video of me talking about my thoughts on the castle area Resident Evil 8 Village demo. So see you on Sunday. If not earlier, but bye.